Yo, JD here, Tyrrell Limits, and as you can see, we are back on F1 2020, and we are at Hanoi for the Vietnam circuit, which is the first time I've done a proper league race around this track. And I was very excited to this, kind of similar to like Zandvoort, because you never know what people's true pace really is. So I was coming to this completely blind, only practiced with a few people who were very competitive, but still, you never know if you're going to be on top of the pack or you're going to be last, pretty much. So
it feels like a solid banker.
It's very exciting. I quite like driving around this track. The rhythm of it feels very nice, and so far in this session, we kept on reclaiming the provisional pole position, but we always continuously got pipped the entire time by FRA Ron here. So this is my fastest lap of the session itself. Going into turn one, really trying to take as much cover as possible for this. And this corner here is very difficult, but just as the white line ends, that's where you really want to be turning in. Kind of a dodgy first sector at this occasion. I know I'm green. It was still good.
Still wasn't particularly great.
Yeah, but as I'm hearing there, obviously hearing me say there, about a tenth and a half slower than my PB. And you'll probably hear my mic is quite loud in this because I'm actually using my brand new mic in the stream itself, which is much clearer, people said, which is great. But it was very loud, which I've actually adjusted for the future races. But so far, the lap, now we
still can't get that sector.
Quite a bit up, but as I just said there, I was really struggling with that long left-hander before coming onto straight. I really need to go much wider and cut back in, because going low gears doesn't give you any extra rotation, but going around through here a little bit deep, so not a particularly great braking zone and traction coming off that corner, but we still found a bit of time. But it's through this last sector where I knew I could gain the most time, and look how much time we have gained. We have gained a lot of time this time, completely flat out first left-hander. This is my favourite sequence on the track by quite some distance, and going through this last corner, very tricky. If you just kiss that curb, it will spit you out very badly. And going through to here, we're almost free. We are 3 tenths up. We lose a little bit of time, but going through the last corner, you have to be as close as you can to the barrier. And going across the line is a 1:32.6, and you can see I'm very happy with that. And that was enough to claim pole position, which was very good. I think a low 32 once I'm up to speed properly and maybe tweak myself a little bit. I think a very low 32 is what you want to be aiming for, but nonetheless, still a very competitive lap time at this stage. So starting on pole position, a place where we found ourselves to be quite a lot recently in this game, and as the lights go out, trying to get a good start, and I get a very decent start, about the same as FRA and Pancakes behind me. And so far in this game, I've said it in my previous videos, our qualifying speed has been very good. I don't think we're lacking any raw speed whatsoever. We just try and make sure we stay in the lead of this race. So you're about to hear my mic very loud now.
I had no idea where to brake then.
But yeah, no idea. But at the moment, we
where to brake.
We just have the pace. I think the thing I need to work on the most is really my race pace, because I've been so focused on qualifying, because last game, that was definitely my Achilles heel, because we always seem to have the race pace. Now I have the qualifying pace, so this is going to be a very good test to see if I can keep my composure and how consistent I can be in the race itself, because I didn't really do too many race laps for this session here. But the more I play this game, the more confident I'm getting, and like a video I did recently about patience, ever since I've had that China race, it's really completely just opened my eyes into how I drive. I believe in myself, and I'm just starting to believe in myself a lot more, and just saying to myself to be calm and just to really put in maximum focus, not to make those silly mistakes or make those rash decisions or rash overtakes or anything at all. Really just to take my time and let the lap time, the pace, do the talking. And ever since I've adopted this approach, I just found my concentration, my performance, everything has just gone up so much. And you can see right now we are laser focused, and that's what I was completely focused, and we're setting the fastest lap as we would on the fast lap because we're the first car. But again, you can see we pulled out quite a decent lead, almost out the second DRS zone already. I'm at the second detection zone you need for the DRS. So I was really trying hard to get out of this zone right now. You can see it's just flickering between 7 to 8 to 9 tenths. But I think he has got DRS now. Although our car is pretty slippery in a straight line. But it's just going through this corner here. So this right-hander is pretty good. But it's going through here. And then this very, very long left corner. You can see it on the Delta. I just lose so much time. And I don't know if that's a setup thing or... I don't know what it is, but...
So bad through there.
And you'll be able to hear me say it again.
So bad through there.
I think it's just the way I'm just taking that corner, to be honest. I think I just need to go much, much wider. I think I was going just far too tight. So I really need to hang out wide here and then probably double shift into 4th gear. That's probably what I'll do next time. But he managed to stay with me. After those 3 laps, I was very, very close to get out of that DRS zone. But he's able to stay with me.
Just very bad for that. I need to really work on that.
And I've just decided, you know what, there's no real point fighting this, so I might as well save a bit of ES and fuel. So I'm going to let him have this position. I'm not going to defend this or anything at all. And just remembering, as I said before, about having patience. I think sometime, probably a few races ago, I probably would have tried to fight that position. But now I'm just thinking much more clearly. And I just thought, you know what, just let him go. 2 people can't go into 1 in that corner and fight. Well, better to fight another day rather than lose the race right there. And you can see here now, putting it back down to lead. So just thinking of the long game once again. No, could go for a move here if I really wanted to, but there's no point. We've got 25 laps of this roll, 23 laps of this race to go. There really is no point here, but I was starting to become a little bit conscious because Jam Pancakes is about 2 seconds behind, and you can see we're putting FRA Ron here under quite a bit of pressure as we're starting to get in the dirty air. Dirty air I don't really like in this game. I find the car to be quite unpredictable, so we're pushing them along quite nicely. The gap is still about 2 seconds behind, and I thought, you know what, I feel I do have a little bit more pace. I've saved up a lot of ERS. You can see we're on about 70% of the ERS here, so we're going to use the overtake quite close coming off this corner onto the straight, and this should be quite an easy pass, reclaiming the lead again. So just thinking very, very clearly and just not rushing anything at all, just not making any rash decisions or anything, you know, just thinking smartly, just being a lot smarter in my races and not letting the pressure and, you know, what I do sometimes, I just think too far ahead, and that's when I make mistakes. Now all I'm thinking about is really literally the next corner, and that's what I'm thinking of. So I decided to pit. I wasn't going to risk the mediums because, again, I didn't really do too much race practice for this.
Yeah, I'm going to go
and
hards.
the tyres were going off quite quickly on the soft, so I elected to go on the hard tyre. You can see the wear is almost on 60%, which if you get 60% in this game, you could be quite a risk at a puncture. So I decided to go on the hard tyre, and the good thing is we were in the Williams because this is the car. A lot of people have been asking me, why am I using this car so much? It's the car I'm going to be using for league racing, so I'm using this to get the practice in it. And it's at the very end of the pit lane, because if I was in the Mercedes, there's a good chance I would have been held in that pit stop because everyone behind me on the same strategy has pitted. So being at Williams, very, very unlikely to get held. And we come out behind some traffic, and I think we're going to stay on board for the next few laps because these are the most crucial laps of this race here. We're coming under pressure from AMS Fury, who hasn't, I don't know, I think he has pitted actually. I think he went for the undercut, and he's gone on the medium tyre, which I really do not expect to go towards the end of the race. So I was pretty certain that he would have to be pitting again, and even if he did get past me again, in my mind I probably wouldn't be battling so hard because I knew his tyres would be going off at the race. So it's all about a waiting game. But still, if I could put a car between myself and Farron here as he just overtakes Fury, as I just say that, if I can get some cars between him and get out of the DRS zone, I feel my race pace in this game is good enough to get away. Now, the qualifying pace is good, but I've really have started to step up the race pace as well, which is now really kind of on my primary focus at the moment, as these two cars are going, my teammate and SHA Mulder, oh, it's going side by side, and again, on another day, I probably would have attempted to try and overtake him in that little gap, but we just being smart, just being much more patient, because in my mind, I'm just thinking, you know, FR8, he's not going to be able to get past me in these corners, so why the rush? There is no rush whatsoever. Now, maybe if it was me trying to chase down the leaders towards the end of the race, and again here, On another day, probably would have used overtake to try and go into turn 1, but I just thought that, no, I've got so much better tyres than him. I'm going to easily get him on the straight, so just wait until the straight. But coming off this corner, coming off turn 2, we get so much more grip on the new, fresh, hard tyres and go down the inside. A very, very nice move, but a move I knew that I was going to execute. And now we've got the DRS on my teammate, who shouldn't, hopefully, make it too difficult for me in this race here. So going into sector 2, very, very difficult, very easy to get a corner cut through here. And again, taking a tight line, but you can see just the car washes away on the mid part of the corner. So I definitely need to be going wider and cutting back here. And now I'm going to try and do a move with my teammate. I haven't got much ERS because I have been using it a little bit to defend when I was coming out of pit. So I'm going to make an overtake. But Mulder, it's going to overtake. He's going to make it 3 wide here. My teammate goes in between us and going into this corner. Again, leaving some room. I'm not interested in this. It make a little bit of contact still because it is so tight. But I decided to use the overtake now because I saw this as my opportunity to put some cars between myself. And it's actually Jam Pancakes, who is my nearest rival, on the same strategy here. And now this is my chance to get away. This is a chance to get out of this DRS zone and then show exactly what kind of pace I really do have here. So now I'm going to try and push as hard as I can because I've got Mulder and Danny. I've got 2 cars between myself and Jam Pancakes. And no, Danny and Mulder, they're going to have to be pitting again. They haven't pitted yet, I don't think, for the hard tyres. And you can see almost out of the second window already. We've just got so much more grip on these tyres. We've got another car, JKB, up ahead of us, who again I don't think has pitted. I don't think he has undercut us. I think he just hasn't pitted here. And you can see almost on that second, 9 tenths. Let's see if it's going to be a second. Still 9 tenths here, and now it is a second. But I think he is going to get the DRS, and you can see my tyre wear on the hard tyres. These are very durable, so I decided to play it a little bit safe because I just didn't think the medium tyres really would get until the end because the softs are going off after like 3 laps. And you can see we're out of the DRS zone now, losing a bit of time with the left-hander once again. And now I'm going to push once again with the overtake mode. No, like I said before, we're very quick in the straight line, so we should be able to get away. But I'm expecting Pancakes to get the move done on Mulder as we look at the mini-map here. And you can see the McLaren has overtaken the Haas going down the straight. And we've got about a 1.2, 1.3, 1.4 second gap here, as we've got about a 2.3 second gap up to JKB. So he is just outside of this DRS zone, and if he's got any overtake, he's probably want to go use it now if he wants to get them back at me. But you can see, moving on to lap 13, the gap is still about 1.4 seconds, with Ron here about 2.9 seconds behind, so he's lost a little bit of time. And we're actually outright in the lead now because I think JKB has pitted. But we're going to see through here. The gap is going up. It's gone up to 1.7 seconds now. So I don't know if Pancakes has actually made a mistake or something at all. But no, we're driving very consistently. But I can tell you at this time, I wasn't really too happy with my race pace. I felt like I was driving a little bit within my limits. Because I felt like I could improve the setup and just get a little bit more confidence. It's particularly through sector 2, I thought I could just be driving a lot better through there. But you can see the gap, we have managed to extend it up to 2.1 seconds, and now each lap we're just getting much more comfortable every time. And Ron here has actually re-overtaken Jam Pancakes, and now they're fighting for second place, and that really helps me. People fighting behind me is only going to help me even more. You can see we've now extended the gap up to just over 2.5 seconds. So I would say in this race, we've just been very consistent. You can see a 38.3, and we just kept on pumping in very consistent times. Now, like I said, I wasn't blown away by my pace personally. I felt like I could just be driving much better as Pancakes re-overtakes again, but I just felt like it was our consistency and just the concentration level I had for this race was definitely the best I've had so far. And that is really just down to my mentality that I've really tried to change. And that is all help, all thanks to you guys in the comments, particularly for my China race. As I said, someone said to me that it's all good talking about it, but you have to do it on track. You have to adopt this mentality. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do, is we get the gap up now to 3 seconds. So we are really having next level consistency right now. And you can see going across the line, once again, the gap is at 38.2. So we're lapping within a tenth, 2 tenths every single lap. And this is what you need. This is what you need. Even if you're not outright faster than someone, just having more consistency. Consistency is key. And we're adopting this mentality. We are just being so focused. I wasn't even really looking at the gap behind me or anything at all. Maybe on the mini map now and again. But I was just so focused on just hitting that apex, hitting that braking zone, making sure you're getting the throttle the same every single time. I want to be driving like I am on scale electrics. But Jam Pancakes has gained a little bit of time back, because I think on one lap he had a little bit of a scruffy lap. But we move on to the last lap now, and I really haven't used that much ERS at all. Because as I said, a lot of people say to me as well that you leave far too much ERS, but I would rather have some ERS in the tank and still win. Because you never know. If I spun, I had a lag spike or something at all on the last lap and he got back within a second of me, I think it is always good to have, if you can win with 100% ERS and win by a second or 2 seconds, then that's the objective for me. My objective is not to run it down, to its scraps or anything at all. My objective is to always have something in reserve. If I can have the raw speed and have another gear to go into if I want to, then that's my idea of perfection. And we've driven this race pretty much to perfection. We did the right strategy. We weren't impatient. We made the right overtakes, the right moves. We going for the traffic. We could have easily dive bombed someone, but we waited. We were patient. We were consistent, kept our concentration. I was just so happy with this performance. And it has been a while where I have led a race from pole and then to start to finish, just controlled the race. We completely controlled this race as well. And I think we only had 1 warning this race. Or I don't know if we even had a warning, and we might have had no warnings at all. We'll see at the end. But coming across the last corner now, we are going to win at Hanoi for my very first, pretty much almost league race around here. And yes. I was so happy with that. I've really struggled in the past, particularly last game, to put a full race together. And on F1 2019, I felt like I always had to drive to my max to get a good result. And on this game, I feel I can just drive, I could drive 9 out of 10 all the time. I'm within my comfort zone and it just suits me so well. So I'm just so happy with this one. Thank you again for the advice. Some people take things personally when they get criticized, but for me, I always try and take it on the chin. Always trying to improve myself, because again, it doesn't matter how many titles you've won, how long you've been playing for, that doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is just trying to improve every single day, no matter who you are. So I have you guys to thank for this. It wouldn't be possible without you. Thank you so much. Hopefully you're enjoying these videos, and I will catch you very soon. Peace.